Greetings. I'm Walt Bauer, and I'd like to welcome all of you to the Human Development Institute's third spring seminar. We welcome all the participants who are joining us online. Our presenter today will provide an opportunity for questions, and we welcome questions from all of our participants. Please type your questions for our speaker in the Q&A box for a robust question and answer session. Please use the chat box for technical questions. You are joining the webinar on mute. There is not a participant video in this webinar room. We have live captioning for the webinar in the closed captioning feature at the bottom of your menu. To turn on the captioning, click on the closed caption button at the bottom of your screen, and then click Show Subtitle. Should you have any questions about CEUs, you can contact me. Please take a moment at the conclusion of the webinar to complete our brief evaluation. The evaluation will be sent to your email address after the webinar. It is really helpful as we plan for upcoming webinars. The title of the webinar is the Job Accommodation Network, or referred to as JAN, your resource in challenging environments. I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. Philip Rumrall, a professor of counselor education and the director of research and training in the Human Development Institute at the University of Kentucky, to introduce our speaker. Dr. Rumrall.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever the case may be, to all of you tuning in with us from parts known and unknown. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the third in our ongoing spring seminar series at the Human Development Institute, or HDI. And it's a great pleasure for me to be able to introduce our speaker, Dr. Deborah J. Hendricks, whose friends call her DJ. And DJ, if you don't mind, you told me 2 weeks ago I qualify, so that's what I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
And we have several hundred of your best friends here who are looking forward to your remarks. So Dr. Hendricks comes to us from West Virginia University, where she has lived in West Virginia most of her life. DJ, if not all of it, right?
All of it. Mm-hmm.
There you have it. Has 3 degrees from WVU in psychology and statistics and educational psychology. And Dr. Hendricks has been employed with the Center for Disability Inclusion and the Job Accommodation Network since 1979, which by my math, DJ, would indicate that WVU was in violation of some child labor laws back in the late 70s, but we won't get into that at all. We are glad you're here with us today. DJ is also the principal investigator of the Job Accommodation Network, a resource that needs no introduction to anyone who works in the area of employment of people with disabilities. One of our nation's finest and longest standing services and supports for people with disabilities and employers. Not going to preempt anything more about Jan. I could go on, but that's the essence of the presentation today. DJ, I want to stop right here because people are tuning in to hear you, not to hear me. So I just wanted to say welcome, and I want to thank you for coming on board with us as an affiliate faculty member of HDI and for delivering this presentation. We are looking forward to your remarks, and it's an honor and a privilege for us to be able to welcome you here this afternoon. So thank you for joining us. Thanks to our audience. Dr. Bauer, thanks for setting this up in the way you do everything, which is just absolutely excellent. And we look forward to the proceedings this afternoon. Without further ado, DJ, the virtual floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Phil. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And also thank you to everyone who's participating in today's webcast. And again, if you have any questions during the presentation, I'm more than happy to take them as I go through. Just submit them through the Q&A box as Dr. Bauer indicated previously. He'll be keeping an eye out on that area for me and will let me know when questions have been posed. And we should have time for questions at the end of the webcast as well. Dr. Rumrall gave you most of the pertinent information about me. I was one of the original employees of the JAN project. I know that the audience today consists primarily of business people and rehabilitation professionals. The information that I'll be presenting today is designed to help you use JAN to meet your goals of hiring, retaining, and promoting good employees and placing clients in meaningful employment. We know times are tough right now. It's slammed at us every day in the news. There's hardly 5 minutes that pass that something about the pandemic or the economy isn't being shoved at us. And there are other factors at play in the employment arena. The American population is becoming increasingly older. We're living longer and we're working longer. And all of these factors lead to increasing rates of disability. And so what we're involved with is improving employment opportunities for people with disabilities. But there's been some good news lately. I've been hearing of a number of employers in the area where I live who are now seeking to hire new workers. As pandemic restrictions are lifted in many areas of the country, restaurants, hotels, and other service industries are scrambling really to find employees. Large retail companies also now need to start increasing their workforce. Near where I live, Home Depot has just announced they are hiring nearly 600 employees, so that's good news. And I saw on the news just this morning that the rates for unemployment have dropped to the lowest level since the pandemic began. So for claims, unemployment claims. So that's good. Still, there are effects that are caused by the pandemic. Unemployment rates are still terribly high in most places. Many business sectors have been severely impacted. There have been a real negative impact on the education of children and young adults, even through college. I know here at West Virginia University, we've seen students who have had difficulties in dealing with having to go to all virtual instruction. And as we've moved into now getting back into the classroom, that's easing a bit. Yet we know that's going to have an enormous impact on their ability to transition successfully from college to employment, or for other students from high school into college or into employment. And of course, there are the long-term effects of the COVID-19 virus. At JAN, we're already starting to receive questions related to the long-term effects of COVID. Lung damage, damage to the heart and circulatory system, injury to organs such as the liver, kidneys, and pancreas are all being reported. We've heard from those dealing with long hauler syndrome, where the symptoms of COVID, such as fevers, continue for months. Fatigue is a common effect, and researchers are just beginning to understand damage to the brain likely caused by the virus. According to the latest statistics, as reported in the New York Times, 31.5 million Americans have had COVID. And as one CDC official put it in a recent interview, if only 2%, I'll say that again, if only 2% of those who have had the virus experience long-term effects, and that's likely to be an underestimate, we're talking about 630,000 individuals who potentially will have lifelong disabilities or difficulties. Hopefully, We're at the low point of the curve and are poised to begin the long climb back to a healthy population and a healthy economy. So what do you need to make the promise of better times ahead a reality? Businesses need to hire or rehire workers, some of whom will undoubtedly be among the 630,000 plus who have had COVID and are having long-term effects. State and private rehabilitation agencies will be serving at least some of those individuals, and eventually will be attempting to place them into sustainable employment opportunities. Students with disabilities need to transition successfully into new careers, and families need to have everyone, including members with a disability, participating in stable employment settings. For those with a disability, the Job Accommodation Network can provide essential information on making this a reality. For those of you who are not familiar with JAN, we are a free and confidential service providing information on customized workplace accommodations. Although we're not lawyers, we also can answer many of your questions about the Americans with Disabilities Act and other disability-related legislation. We're federally funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy. And as such, we're here to serve your needs. So let's look at how JAN can help. As I said, we provide customized workplace accommodation information, and I emphasize that word, customized, because the information that we provide will be based specifically on the individual's disability and their limitations, on the type of business where the person will be working, on the job position and essential duties that will have to be performed, because we know the same job title can mean very different activities at different businesses. And also on environmental factors that may influence the particular accommodation need. For example, what equipment may already be in place with which the accommodation will need to be compatible? That's essential. Will the person be working in an office or in a warehouse, inside or outside, with others, or maybe alone? We also can explain your rights and responsibilities under relevant legislation. And I know the common thought is that it's employee rights and employer responsibilities, but really, in fact, both parties have rights and both parties have responsibilities that must be taken into account. And we can talk to you about possible modifications to policies and procedures that can make a real difference in a person with a disability getting or keeping a job versus not. And we understand how important that is. And I'm going to take a pause here for a moment and see if anybody has any questions that they'd like to pose.
DJ, we do have a question.
Go right ahead, Walt.
The question is from Andy, and the question is, a large amount of folks will need to be retrained due to long haulers and organ damage. Also, 18 to 19 million people are on long-term extended employment benefits. Some experts are worried about declining job skills. Are there going to be new or increased funding streams for job training?
Andy, that's a really good question, and I wish I had a definitive, positive answer for that. I think that's probably going to have to be the case, that we are going to have to see a considerable amount of training or retraining that's going to take place, getting people able to go into jobs that are different than what they had pre-pandemic. It'll be something that I think we will need to keep a watch on and see how that evolves over time. And also, as you know, we all know, workplaces are changing quite a bit. The types of work that have been available in the past, some of the jobs are going away and others coming in to take their place. I saw a piece not long ago on 60 Minutes where a company has developed a new robot to work in warehouses where it can unpack an entire truckload of boxes and store them in the warehouse. It can do that without getting fatigued. It can do that without taking breaks. And so there goes a number of jobs for people that previously have been involved in unloading materials from trucks and storing them in warehouses. But as they were pointing out, it brings about a new job called a robot wrangler. So, I think that, as new technologies come on board and as we do get out of the pandemic more, we are going to have to see some training and retraining taking place. So good question. Thank you very much. Any others?
Yes, we have another question. And the question is, have you seen an increase in needed accommodations for remote employees due to COVID?
Absolutely, yes. Telework has been just a tremendous area of interest from employers and rehabilitation professionals across the country. All kinds of workers working from home. We did it at Jan. That was a huge change for us. And so we know that many employers are struggling with this. It's a critical issue for them to be able to keep people working, even though they may have to be doing it from home. And there are a number of factors that get brought into that as well. Child care duties can impact on a person's ability to be able to work remotely, taking care of family members and so forth. But it is very important. We've developed a number of resources that are available on our website, and I'll mention those a little later, that are related to telework. Anything else?
We have another question from Bridget, and the question is, does an individual need to be referred by OVR, or may they contact Jan?
Excellent question, Bridget. Anybody can contact us directly. We don't do any kind of verification that a person has, quote unquote, a disability. If someone needs an accommodation, we're happy to provide that information. And I'll address that here in just a little bit as well. Anything else?
We have one other question from Bethany, and the question is, would a COVID diagnosis be protected under the ADA?
It can be. That's it. Just because somebody's had COVID does not mean they have a disability. There do have to be long-term effects that would be impacting their activities of daily living. But again, to use our services, it really is just a matter of, does the individual need to have accommodations made in order for them to remain at work or to be more productive in their work environment? So we don't necessarily, we don't ask, has this person been verified to have a disability or anything like that? No medical documentation for our services. Okay.
Those are all our questions at this time.
All right, thank you very much. So then let's look at who can use our services. Pretty much anybody who has a question about making accommodations for a person with a disability. Employers can use us, whether they're public or private employers. We talk with human resource personnel, supervisors, managers, sometimes with CEOs or vice presidents of a company. Individuals who have a disability can contact us for information, whether they already have a job or are seeking employment. We talk with a lot of service providers of all types. Again, either public or private, it doesn't matter. We talk to family members who have questions about someone in their household that has a disability. And we talk with educators, legal representatives, union representatives, and medical representatives as well. So as I said before, it really is anybody who has a question about how to go about making an accommodation for someone in the work setting. So let's take a look now at why you should use Jan. Why is Jan the resource? Well, maybe the best reason is because it's free. Free, 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 free. And it's confidential. We don't provide the information given to us by you with anybody, ever, for any reason. We never have, we never will. Having our service available means you don't have to be an expert in the areas of disability and technology and legislation. We'll do that for you. We have a cadre of experienced professionals who are knowledgeable and, most of all, dedicated to improving employment opportunities of people with a disability. Oh, and don't forget, it's free. Here are a few more reasons why it's a good idea to use Jan. It's easy to use, and I'll go through a complete set of how-tos here in just a minute. There are many ways to contact us, so we are available by a variety of means. Also, and to me, this is a very important point, both boom and bust economies impact employment. During the down times, and especially just as the economy begins to pick up again, everybody's looking for employment. It can be difficult to achieve that perfect match of person to position, and just getting an employer to consider an individual who has a disability can be difficult. When the economy has been going strong for a while, there aren't as many applicants available, and locating qualified potential employees is difficult. And as every employer knows, the goal is to keep costs low and productivity high. Jan can help you do just that. And then, as I like to put it, there are the not justs. Jan isn't just about products. We can provide practical information on changes to policies and procedures. We don't just provide information on physical limitations. We have teams of professionals who are experts in the area of accommodating individuals with mental health conditions, behavioral disorders, autism spectrum disorders, brain injuries, and limitations such as remembering, organizing, scheduling, and much, much more. And we provide information on all types of jobs, not just office-based positions. We can provide information related to manufacturing plants, warehouses, transportation, you name it. We can provide accommodation information that really works. So any questions before I move on any further?
We do not have any questions at this point.
Okay, moving on then. And I haven't even mentioned that we have a small business and self-employment initiative. If a person with a disability is interested in starting their own small business, we can provide information that goes step by step through the entire process of developing a plan, obtaining funding, and avoiding the many pitfalls that can come when starting a small business. And really, self-employment can be a wonderful opportunity for some people with a disability who might otherwise have difficulty working in a standard 9-to-5 employment setting or in settings with a lot of other employees. So it does offer a really different and opportunity with high potential for some individuals. It's difficult. There's no way around that. It can be very difficult starting up your own small business, but the rewards can be really wonderful as well. So how is Jan different? Well, I say different because there really is no other service that's like ours. Our employees work in teams that specialize in different types of disabilities. We have a sensory team and a motor team, a team that specializes in mental health disorders, and several others. This approach really allows them to become truly expert in a type of disability that works best for each disability and specific set of limitations. Our personnel engage extensively in professional development. So they work every day to stay atop their field so they can provide you with the most up-to-date and relevant information available. We all know technology changes daily. And so we work every day to make certain we're aware of the current technology situation. Our personnel are professional, they're experienced, and they're caring. Collectively, they have hundreds of years of experience. They understand really all too well what's on the line for every customer with whom they talk. They listen and they understand what you need. We have a vast array of resources available for our employees to use in helping you. Thousands of product vendors with hundreds of thousands of products that can be used as accommodations. Thousands of organizations, nonprofits, government agencies, and more. We have an absolutely astonishing number of publications that we've developed on a wide variety of topics spanning every type of disability and situation. Those are all located on our website, but we can help pick the ones that are most relevant for your specific needs and email those to you. And we've been very busy creating new resources regarding accommodations for COVID-19. Any questions?
We do have a question. The question is from Andrew, and the question is, does Jan help with developing Social Security pass plans?
We can't be involved directly in the development of those, but we can provide you with information about them, and we can refer people off to resources that can help them to develop those plans. Very good point. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, those are really important, especially when you're talking about starting up a small business. Any other questions?
This question is from Justin. How does the team expert approach work with dual diagnosis? Can you work with multiple teams?
Oh, yes. That's a great question. Yes. What we usually do is to start out determining which disability, which condition is maybe the primary one. And that's the team that you would start with. Again, that's kind of assuming that the two different diagnoses would extend across two different teams, but we'll get kind of started on that first one, and then the consultant that you're working with on that will then get in touch with a consultant on the other team and say, well, we also have the secondary diagnosis that we're going to have to take into account here. And let's see what accommodations the two of us can work out that is going to meet this particular customer's needs. So absolutely, yes, we'll deal with as many types of disabilities and limitations as necessary. And believe me, we do have a pretty large number of customers that we deal with. We're talking about 2 different disabilities. We've seen 3, 4, 5, 6 different disabilities that all have to be taken into account in order to make appropriate and reasonable accommodations for the individual. So we're all too happy to do that. Any other questions?
Those are all our questions for now.
Okay, then I will move on here. And this is a little bit difficult to see. I just took a screenshot from our website that contains the latest coronavirus information. The resources we've developed here on using the interactive accommodation process during the pandemic, accommodation strategies for returning to work during COVID, on telework, which was a question brought up earlier, on those experiencing symptoms long-term, and on accommodating employees who have developed COVID-related disabilities. And there will be more of these documents to come. We have quite a number right now that are in the pipeline. We're just waiting for approval on them so that we can get them posted out on our website. You'll also see we have a number of blogs that we post, and we're including new blogs on an almost weekly basis. So we're always keeping on top of what are the latest trends developing. As a matter of fact, right now I've been involved in going back through information that we've collected over the years, looking to see what the trends are right now in terms of maybe emerging disabilities. And that's going to be especially relevant as we go through the remainder of the pandemic, seeing what conditions perhaps are becoming more frequent. I can tell you that in the work I've already done, we're seeing that there has been actually not just recently, but starting a few years ago, a tremendous increase in requests for information related to mental health conditions. So that's been a vastly increasing area of interest. But yeah, you can go to our website and link into any of these resources, download them for yourself if you like. And introducing, I don't know if you can see it on the panel behind me here, but we have a brand new feature on our website. It's called My Jan. This feature allows you to establish a private account where you can store materials from the Jan website that are most relevant to your needs. If you need information related to a specific disability, you can put links into your My Jan account. If you need information specifically regarding the accommodation and you need to refer to that again and again, you place those documents into your My Jan account. It allows you to very quickly access and share the information you've stored in your account without having to search through multiple pages. So as I say, this is a brand new feature. We encourage people to get on the website and initiate your account so that you can make use of this. The feedback that we've had so far has been very, very positive. People really enjoy using this and having it available so that it saves them time as they need to refer to the same materials again and again. Any questions at this point?
We do. We have a few questions. This question is from Jessica. What is available through Jan for people who don't already have a job or a job offer?
Well, one of the ways that we can help in a situation like that is for a person who is going to be preparing to go into job interviews. It can be extremely helpful to know when to disclose a disability, how to go about disclosing a disability, being prepared with possible accommodation approaches in case that should become an issue at any point during the interviewing or the hiring process, and also to know what the individual's rights are in terms of being asked for maybe medical documentation, or to be asked how is it going to be possible for them to perform certain job duties that may be essential to the position that they're interviewing for. And I always think the better prepared a person can be going into a job interview, the better the chances are that you'll be successful in getting that job. Next question.
We have a question from Lori, and the question is, do you foresee a lot of PTSD or trauma-induced anxiety, mental health issues coming in the future as a result of our collective experience with COVID-19?
I do. I really think that is going to be an area of great need coming into the very near future. I'm surprised at this point we haven't seen it a little bit more than we have. But I also think too that we need to be encouraging people to kind of reach out to resources, and being able to identify the fact that they even have PTSD. And I'm going to speak as somebody who has experienced that myself.